New Conor McGregor update today on his career, and it's not what I expected. Conor McGregor announced today that he is looking to fight Logan Paul in India in a boxing match next, not an MMA fight. We're here to go over what he said, the response from Jake Paul and Ilia Topuria. We're going to go over what Dana said in the post-fight presser, and what maybe he has to do with this. And then we're going to go over the whole India thing. Because when I saw India, that's why I was like, they're going to hold this massive fight in India with Conor McGregor. I'm going to show you why. And that's going to be at the end of the video. And that's going to be probably the most interesting thing about this whole fight. So let's get started with Conor. He tweets out yesterday, 4:08 a.m. here. The rumors of a bout with Topuria are false. I'm in a preliminary agreements with the Ambani family to face Logan Paul in a boxing exhibition in India. I have agreed. I will then seek my return to the Octagon. This dude is never fighting in MMA, or at least in the UFC again. So, top comment, went from double champ to Logan Paul officially off the train. Probably sums it up best. Jake Paul has a response. You know, they always got to fuck a response. But Jake Paul comes back and says, now it all makes sense why Conor McGregor and his management team have been desperately trying to get MVP, which is his management company, to negotiate a fight between us. As we've told them privately, and now I'm saying it publicly, the only way we're willing to explore me versus Conor in a pro boxing MMA fight is if Dana White / UFC are at the table directively or make it clear that they are okay with discussions. Conor is washed, needs the Pauls. Logan buy however he wants. So the most interesting thing about this is that, and then we'll get into Ilya and then Dana, which Dana I think also has something to do with this because Jake Paul saying that he's only willing to do it if Dana's at the table is a power move by Jake Paul because he wants Dana to be the one to say yes, you can fight my biggest star as a co-promotion, and Dana has said time and time again he will not co-promote with Jake Paul ever. So that's why he's saying that, and that's why that fight will never happen, at least with the UFC being a part of it. And that's exactly why it might happen with Logan Paul and Conor and the UFC being a part of it, because obviously Logan Paul and his company Prime, or the company that he's a spokesperson for, it's not his company, but the company Prime is obviously an official sponsor of the UFC and has been for months now, and they have somewhat of a relationship. So it would make sense that Dana might be on board with letting Conor do something like that with Logan Paul and not Jake Paul, because Dana very openly hates Jake Paul, and he's not gonna take that hit to the ego. So Ilya comes out and says the rumors of a bout with McChicken are false. I don't fight, nor am I interested in fighting with a grapist. So first of all, he was never charged with grape or anything like that. It was similar. He was found liable for something, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they found wrongdoing. And obviously, that could be a whole separate video about what's going on with that court case. But to come out and say that is just kind of like, dude, there's guys in the UFC that have done some shit, and to say, oh, I won't fight him because of this or that. I'm sure he wouldn't say the same things about what John Jones has done in his past too, because he would fucking eat. John Jones would eat Ilia Topuria. So, and again, top comment kind of backs it up and saying a so-called man that brings up someone's personal situations is weak. That's what you are. No point to say it like that. Just say you don't want to fight him because he's washed up and doesn't deserve the fight. We would all respect that and agree with that, but not when you say shit like that. So let's go back to what Dana said after the Tampa fight night this weekend, because it might have something to do and might have alluded to this happening.
Something in the works right now. I'll drive you fuckers crazy. All you guys will be running around. I got something in the works that you will never fucking see coming for 2025. That literally started to come together last night, and
I
yeah, we got some fun stuff coming up.
I don't think he's talking about Logan Paul versus Conor McGregor. I do not think that's the big news that he was going to put on everybody. I think it's more likely that it would be power slap news than Conor McGregor versus Logan Paul. I don't think that's what he was alluding to here. But but Dana White obviously has been supporting the career of Callum Walsh and has been getting into boxing because of that. And then just recently had partnered with, who was it here? Bob Arum. So partners with Bob Arum in a broadcasting deal, and he says about boxing, you've never heard me commit and say I'm in. Well, I'm in. So obviously his boxing is going to be in his future. Maybe not so quickly in terms of this fight, but I imagine it would have to be some kind of co-promotion if Conor McGregor is taking a fight anywhere else. So Dana's probably in there somewhere. And let's go back to the tweet, because Conor says we are in agreements with the Ambani family, which is they own essentially like a massive conglomerate in India with energy, oil, all these different sectors they cover, and this family is supposed to be worth somewhere around $100 billion. So in comparison, Turkey Al Sheikh, who does the whole Riyadh season, he's worth about 2.8 billion. I'm sure there's other people investing in that and are probably a part of that, but him specifically, who's like the big guy that you always see, he's like the figurehead, and he's the one saying, "Oh, this is the guy making it happen." He's worth 2.8 billion. This family is worth about $100 billion. So that's considerably more, right? If you look at the numbers, it's considerably more, and that would explain why this is going to go down in India. Um, we're not going to make any jokes about it. We'll just move on to that because that's just too. That's whatever. It's too easy. But I don't think like when's the last time there's been a major fight like this in India? I mean, that's kind of crazy. Um, I don't know. I guess that's cool. I don't know. Logan Paul would just do whatever for the money, so I'm sure he doesn't give a fuck. And with this kind of money, I'm sure they're going to get paid very handsomely, probably a stupid amount of money to do a boxing exhibition and essentially have a sparring match with each other. So, um, one more thing about this family. The one of the sons just got married, and the cost of the wedding, it was a 6-day celebration in Mumbai, India. The estimated cost was about 300 million, between 300 million and $1 billion. So that and that's him. So yeah, yeah. I'm not even gonna say anything else. That's him. They had a half a billion-dollar wedding over 6 days, and that's the kind of money we're dealing with here. So makes sense. I understand why Conor's doing it, and I understand why Dana will let him do it because I'm sure he will get paid very handsomely for letting him do it too as a co-promotion fee. So the only people that lose out are us, the fans. That I guess maybe some fans don't want to see him fight anymore, but I certainly don't want to. If he's going to fight anywhere anymore, I'd like to see him just retire so we can stop talking about it. It's just getting ridiculous at this point. Like, oh, when's he coming back? Dana says, oh, it's going to be by the end of 2025. Yeah, sure, bro. He's going to make this much money to do a sparring match with Logan Paul, and you think this dude's coming back to fight in the UFC against dudes that have been training all this time? Not going to happen, guys. I'm certainly not holding my breath for a fucking UFC comeback anymore. But it makes sense why this is going down. It's all but confirmed. Logan Paul hasn't said much. He reacted on an Instagram story about it and just kind of shared the news. But it's still in preliminary talks, but with that kind of money, I'm sure this will end up happening. I'm sure Dana will find a way to make it happen. And now that I'm thinking about it more, maybe he would glaze this that much and would say
Coming
that.
for 2025, that literally started to come together last night. And yeah, we got some fun stuff coming up.
Is that fun stuff, guys? Let me know. I guess listen, if it's a similar situation to the McGregor Mayweather, he could glaze it that much, and that could be what he's talking about here. Totally. Because what else would be as big as that, really? I mean, like popularity wise, people watching wise, what would be as big as that? Probably nothing. And he'll be like, "Oh, I'm getting into boxing now," even though it's an exhibition, it's a complete joke. Um, yeah, I don't know. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Obviously, it's big news one way or the other, but I don't know. Does Logan Paul beat Conor McGregor in boxing? I mean, obviously Logan Paul's a much bigger guy, probably stronger, but Conor's a lot quicker, better hands, and probably they've both been training about the same, which is about nothing. So, well, to be fair though, Logan Paul does do WWE, which is obviously very physically demanding. And to add into the whole Dana thing, WWE and UFC are obviously owned by the same company, TKO now. So it all does kind of make sense that this is going to come together and happen. And obviously, Conor McGregor versus Logan Paul, while it wasn't what I expected, does make a lot of sense to happen. So that's it. I'll be back with more content this week and over the next month because we're going to have no fucking UFC for God knows how long now. Anyway, peace.